and there's what it's doing with the live stream. So anyway, we're live streaming now.
Cool.
We'll see how long it lasts. We've seen it fail before. It is the local support meeting. I guess I'm going to repost this in the.
Yeah, and I don't know how it looks for you, but it's coming up as LD for me, and you're very, very blocky. So I don't know if I look the same to you.
Right. Well, I mean, at the moment, I've just got your icon, so it looks.
Oh, of course, my webcam is all shut down. Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting, and I guess that's what gives me the partly if I mean, I can stop the camera and I can do the screen share. Like the video from my side looks fine, but if I'm screen sharing here like this, is that very blocky and unreadable?
It's not perfect, but it's readable.
Okay. Well, let's. I mean, we'll
persevere. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we maybe. We'll see. I mean, again, the people let's see who might conceivably have interest in this. We've got Sigurd Lixon said he couldn't make it. I guess other people. There's Seth. There's Stella. There are other people who. Oh, there was Stamoulos. Anyway, there we go. It's you and I again, as it was last week, and the live streaming is continuing. So yeah, I mean, the key things for the meeting are reflecting on what we could do better, and then voting on tickets to make things happen that hopefully makes things better. Now, I remember actually that last week, Brent, we started and you gave some feedback, which I remember as being very good, and was the main one that we had a lot of tickets with under described areas.
It was that, and I felt that some of the tickets were duplicated, which is why I started to go through them. But I've not finished that process yet. I'll probably have some more time this weekend to go through it again. But I think what I'll do is, if I find any more that need more information, I'll create that tag that we discussed.
Yeah.
But then where there's ones that I think need further discussion, I'll just list them out and we can maybe discuss them in next week's meeting or something like that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I would just say I have. Thank you for this list. I went through just before our meeting. I went through updating, like looking at each of these individually and kind of adding more information. And so, yeah, feel free to let me know if that has resolved any of those, or if actually I may have muddied the water. Rather than, we will see.
I was a little bit concerned sort of doing it, because I was thinking that, for somebody who knows the environment a lot better than myself, then it might mean more to them. Do you know what I mean? But I just thought, but if we can get as much information in there that would help me, then it helps all beginners and people new to the project. So absolutely,
no, I think you're right. I mean, for people who are familiar with the project, less information is required, but we are trying to be an open source project and encouraging people to come in from outside. And it's a point that's been made before by Sigu and others about. That we're better than some open source projects, but we could still go further. And so, yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely worth doing. Any other thoughts on the process of how things are running?
I think we probably do need more structure for these meetings, but then again, I'm not sure what that structure should be, really. I did read I think there was one of the other meetings, was it the community meeting, where Michael had suggested a bit of structure. And I think where we can get people to commit to doing things, not necessarily for that week, or maybe we set up sprints that are over 2 weeks, or maybe a little bit longer because of people not having the time. I do think we want to have more formal sprints where people agree either individually or as a group of people to work on certain tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy just to pick them off, the ones that I feel I'm capable of doing, but I'm not sure that is the right thing to do,
Sure. I mean, I think it's definitely giving us some. I was very pleased to see earlier today that a big part of your efforts has been to help make that embedded map, and that's now available on Voluntary Action Harrow's website, which doesn't load as fast as it might do, but yeah, and yes, I think hopefully that's there we go. Yes, so that's, I think, or not that they necessarily have the the hugest audience in the world, but I think it suddenly makes people much more likely to see about our network. It would be nice if this was actually hyperlinked, but yeah, I mentioned that in the context of I think, yeah, you can definitely keep on picking off tickets and making things happen, and I think that's to everyone's benefit. At the same time, I totally hear what you're saying there about more structure needed, maybe more formal sprint. Yeah, anything else on your mind about the project?
Not around process. I think what I did notice in those reviewing the tickets, there were a lot of bugs. Now, I know some bugs are more important than other bugs, but I would have thought that some of them, going back months, we should be looking at and maybe have some sort of sprint where we just clear out the bugs. I just think that you shouldn't really have bugs in there for very long, unless we're just going to decide that, yeah, we're going to live with them.
Sure. Yeah. No, point taken. Yes. Well, I think it is also wonderful that you're full of these kind of retro ideas. I think often we have to set up, kind of complex structures to tease feedback out of people, but you're just giving it and I can write it down and respond to it. So that's fantastic. What I'm noticing is that myself is the last 2 weeks, we haven't had many people. We've kind of had this funny up and down thing where sometimes we seem to have like 7 people and then we don't have any at all. And that makes me wonder if we need a different meeting time.
Possibly. Yeah. Yeah.
I guess the other thing I'm thinking about is, how we provide support to new members. The particular thing, if I could grab is we've got a couple. If we just sort of look quickly through the pull requests, I must. In the background, I am trying to hear. I just done the right thing. I'm trying to. Yeah. Yes. Good commit. Sorry, this is. SAM fix. Let's encrypt. Let's push this off. Git push origin 1512. Go on. 1. Really? Yeah, I have to say that the more I use Waffle and so on, the I don't know. I mean, Pivotal. I think it is better for the voting.
Yeah.
In some ways, I think it's kind of, the interface is more colorful. It's more, you can see the state of the items better. But in terms of ease of use from the command line and so on Waffle and GitHub themselves,
I mean, it's great. I mean, I just use the GitHub projects on my personal projects, but I just find that nice and simple. But it's not as pretty like.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of. I feel sort of that we need to stick with Pivotal Tracker for local support because partly I've got these courses. Like, we just had 2 students from the courses come into the last Scrum, and we kind of explicitly teach them about Pivotal Tracker in that, and it's kind of I kind of need to have a Pivotal Tracker project running, and we've been doing it like this for 5 years. Goodness.
Oh yeah, I agree. I don't think we should change it.
No.
To be honest, I've installed the apps on my iOS devices, and the apps are really good.
Yeah, no, they are actually, aren't they?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So what I was saying that we should do there, when I got distracted was
the pull requests.
Should look at pull requests there. So that's building for me in the background. But so we've got we've got I think like Octopinky. I don't know if Octopinky is this. I think it's a different person from Liaxong. They now saying that they've spent 8 hours pair programming on it, and they don't know when it will complete it. I guess they've now pushed up some more code. It's, you know, I mentioned to them in the pull request, you know, maybe you could come to the meeting and chat about it. We had, where have I found him today? Yeah, Liaxong came into the chat earlier today to mention that he couldn't make the meeting, which is totally, obviously, you know, it would be good to look at meeting times. I wish I could get people to like use tags like doing at Tansaku, but so I sort of responded to him, but I'm kind of like underinformed about where they're up to. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. I found that looking at a lot of the you know, when I was reviewing the tickets, because in fact, in the end, I stopped reviewing the tickets that were in the backlog because they'd been allocated to people, but it was unclear what progress was being made. So I sort of concentrated on the ones in the Icebox.
Yeah, perfectly reasonable. Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of, I think that this is on this, like, how we provide support to new members. So we've got this sort of situation where, like, we could be, like, we could do more reach outs, which is like, for example, I could pull down the branch that they're on and kind of run it and try and figure out from the code what's going on, and then kind of like try and reach out and say, well, I think you're doing this. Could this help? Could that help? You know, but at the same time, it's difficult to justify spending that amount of time when it's unclear. You know, like they might suddenly become much more busy, and I wouldn't hear from them again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I'm happy to look from a personal point of view. I'm happy to look through the pull requests, and if I can understand what they're doing and think I'm happy to then reach out to them and ask if they want me to do a bit towards it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't know what the sort of project etiquette is around things like that, where people have already taken ownership of, you know, a ticket. You feel that you shouldn't really.
Yes, well, and I think that you can say, what is project etiquette around ticket ownership? I think, you know, what we have to say is that we're in a very different situation from that like if we're in a company and we had a team of people all working on things, or even like a very, very active open source project where there was a lot of people like very regularly committing. What we've got is a project with very high churn over the last 5 years. And I think we kind of, I mean, the etiquette that I'm trying to establish is, I think it's important to reach out to people, but at the same time, people have got to be aware that we can't kind of reserve tickets for them to be around indefinitely. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what I've been doing recently, I have actually kind of reached, I try to regularly review the open pull requests. I've been less good at doing it with the open tickets recently, but I try and review the open pull requests and reach out to people. Now, for example, for this one, you know, I was asking for updates. You know, I actually replicated. I started getting into the point of diving in and finding out what the error was that was stuck, and thinking that I might take it over. And then suddenly the person came back, and I was talking to Sigo about maybe him doing it. And so, is that Sigo's? So I think we'll see. And he's responded specifically that he can't work on it until a month from now.
Right.
Since
Yeah.
it's a kind of a low priority thing, that's fine. So we'll leave that for him for a month. But I think now in 6 weeks we come back to this and we'll just do it. You know, we'll just get it out of the way. And maybe that's something that we need to make more explicit to people when they first take on a.
Yeah, maybe if a ticket or PR has gone stale for like a month or something, then it's up for grabs, really.
Yes. Can we be explicit about how long we will allow a person to be assigned to an open ticket? I mean, and that's actually, see, that I think maybe where that could go is that could go in our contributing.md. What would be interesting would, and I think this might also potentially help with actually making progress, is we kind of want a bit of a countdown. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like an automated countdown that said, like, right, sorry, you know, they just basically de-assigned people after 6 months. Do you know what I mean? Or we could set that going.
I just wondered if we could do a report in both GitHub and Pivotal that shows all tickets that haven't had any activity.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's possible, but
I think you might be right. That's a good idea. I think there are reporting functions like reporting in. We can certainly, for example, here we can sort by the least recently updated.
Yeah.
In here, so we can see. Gosh, that's funny. Updated. Oh, least recently updated. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Of course. Yeah. This is then like, if I make a comment on it asking, you know, what's going on with this thing, that makes it more recently updated. So it's a bit ridiculous.
No. Yeah. It's the commits. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. Well, I'm just suddenly looking at this and I'm kind of like, okay, so this is that closed one. I thought this was merged. That's funny. We've got 7 open. Sort just by newest. Is this right? I think this needs to. This is this test. Oh, I sort of assumed that I'd merged this one. I closed the one that Fernando, because he'd said, yeah, I'll just merge that one. So.
Oh, the getting the Jasmine test running.
Yeah. So
I thought you had merged it actually.
Yeah, I thought I had too. I think I had just closed from that. That's very strange. Anyway, well, that's clearly green and can be merged. Let's get that in there. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So there was that. Sigu's reaching out to Stella. This is this one here. We've got this one. So, for example, I've had this a few times before. Is that people come along and they're not necessarily coming at this from the test-driven side at all. So you know, this person's come along and the code is fine. It's like we could merge it in, but I think that's maybe something that needs to be added to our contributing, is that we're sort of expecting there to be tests associated with it.
Right.
I've kind of given some detailed feedback there. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's probably one I could have a look at as well if there is no activity on it.
Yeah, that one's more recent, so it's less of a. But yeah, I think that's what there's probably generally, I think, good value in, rather than folks like you and I starting on new things, is making sure that old things are cleared up, and that you know, just makes everything more manageable for everybody. On there's just stale tickets, and then I was saying lost my idea that I was saying, which was like, oh gosh, what is it? Oh, my brain.
An idea did you speak the idea?
Oh, it was about add note on test first, or at least including tests to contributing.md. I think there's also room for overhaul of the contributing MD to make it easier to read.
Yeah, one thing I have seen. So I've done some So there's an open source community for Sensu, which is a tool that I use at work. And when you contribute to that, whenever you create a pull request, it automatically gives you like a set of checks.
Template, yeah, we have that on Agile Ventures. But maybe we don't have it on local support.
I've not seen it on local support, so
no. So we could add that. Yeah, that's a good suggestion.
And have checks of have you got tests, blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, let me. I think the templates that we have on Movement are slightly too verbose, but of course on and there's an action item there on that project. But so here, like this is the kind of thing you mean, right?
No, they actually have checklists with little checks in them that you can add.
Well, I think it's funny actually, because a lot of people I think are putting the checklists in there themselves, but I guess maybe we don't have the checklists specified. So, but presumably the checklists are just markdown checklists. Is that right?
Yeah, they're just in the description of the PR, basically.
Yeah, it's just like they're just like these things, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, we can totally. Well, that's so these are, and I think actually there's also the case that we have local support. Is it settings? No, or is it insights in the?
I'll just see if I can
community.
Find one actually.
Here we go. Like here, yeah. I think there's like a way we can add like issue and pull request templates.
Yeah, I think that's where it's done. Let me see if I can find one that I've done. But yeah, they're.
Yeah, so we could certainly add those, couldn't we?
But I found that useful as being new to the project.
Sure.
Because if you don't tick them, people comment to say, you need to make sure you've done this, that, and the other. I mean, you can put, justify why you haven't checked them.
Totally.
But yeah, so let me see if I don't know if you can see them when they are. Oh yeah, here. Let me share my screen and then. Where's that gone? Screen. So where's the screen? Oh, it's on the top. It's on the top on this one.
Yeah, the nav thing is swapped.
Yeah, so this is just an example. So they have you have to update change logs.
So, I mean, maybe what we could do is grab a copy of that, or I guess we can write our own. But yeah, definitely, we can certainly add that.
I did find that useful. So
yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Well, I think we've got a good. I mean, we've managed to do, the two of us, I think, a fairly reasonable job of a retro today, haven't we? We've certainly got.
Yep.
I mean, the thing that I had also been thinking is that, with the weekly, I mean, we don't support like rotating every 2 weeks, but it's probably a good pattern to get into where we make every second meeting a retro, and we use the other video for voting for tickets. I mean, the difficulty is of course that if people do turn up, they're often turning up because they want help and support on the things that they're blocked on. But I guess we've got to ask people: is there a better time when they could actually attend? Haven't we? So I think so. Yeah. So have we got? I mean, that we've done that. I guess we turn that into action items, and I'll do this one. Work out better times for meetings. I think the formal sprint is good. I think we need, although for that to work, do we need kind of a bit more commitment and people turning up, would you say?
Yeah, I do.
So
I think it needs to be just more than the two of us, unfortunately.
Let's see. I think what we could, the thing I was thinking about, contribute. I mean, I guess if we would say, can we make it actually, is that if you want to root out stale tickets.
Yep.
I think that's sort of was part of your agenda anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and improve contributing .md and get some pull request templates in. As I think that's a reasonable, we're not taking on too much there. The thing I wanted to mention about contributing MD was that I've noticed seeing other people's stuff, like they start with, "Wow, we're so glad that you're getting involved." They're kind of like really chatty and positive and enthusiastic. Yeah. And I've kind of been on like, "Let me describe as like a robot what happens." So anyway, that's a change that I want to make. My big focus at the moment has to be trying to reduce our costs by getting Let's Encrypt set up. So that's probably what I'm going to work on right now. And I think we've kind of used up our time. And I don't think there's anything urgently that we need to vote on.
No, one question, well, a couple of things actually, if we've got time.
Go on.
The first one is I've sent you in your private Slack.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, so that's a working, I managed to get the data from the main charities table to MySQL. It took a lot of effort and a lot of manual.
About, yeah.
Yeah, but at least we've got something to work with. And that, what I've sent you is the Postgres version. So that'll create the database tables and populate them with the data.
Okay, right. So that's kind of, it's the PostgreSQL dump from MySQL.
Yes.
Okay.
So so if you get a chance to see if it works. Yeah, the other thing was obviously about the embedded map. Is that something that the client is wanting as a priority?
Oh, the tracking the number of people who go through it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've asked that like the client, one of the client's team has mentioned that in an email. I think we probably, having got them the embedded map, we shouldn't worry about prioritizing that. I think probably it's sensible, as you're suggesting, to do some sort of house cleaning.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I think we could certainly create a ticket for that and vote on that in a future session. But I wouldn't. Yeah. So I'll tracking. I'll tell you go about it. So tracking for click-throughs on embedded map, or even just like or normal map.
Yeah. Well, I think if you do it for both, because if you did it just for the embedded map, we'd have to duplicate some of the code, which is not ideal.
I mean, it's basically we want to track people going and looking at. So it's like many of the vol ops are from third-party sites. Apparently, don't know how many click through on them. The client would like to know. I mean, what would be lovely is if we could just do the click through where the data just gets stored in Google Analytics rather than having to do like logging locally, but whatever. I would like to know. Perhaps we can redirect and store data. But yeah, let's leave that for a little while. Yeah, fantastic work on getting the charities thing out. So I mean, potentially with that, we could move on to building that Rails API around it.
Yeah, and I've looked at the Lumen API that's actually behind Charity Lookup, and it is very, very simple, very basic stuff. I think he, Seb, who wrote it, just had a specific requirement in it that he needed to answer, and that's all it has. He hasn't kept the data updated for almost a year. So I think going down the route of a new Rails app is probably going to be much better.
Yeah. Well, and what I would say there, and you probably thought this yourself already, but so that wrangling that you just have to go through, to the extent that you can document that, so that ultimately we can automate that, that's going to be to our big advantage in the long run, I think.
Yes, I will. Well, what I'm going to do, because that was the data I've sent you through is a couple of months old. So
Yeah.
what I will do when I get the time is I will get the latest data down, and then I can go through what I did previously, and I will document all the different changes I've had to make, and yeah, and most of it can be done by regex, which means we should be able to automate it. But the bizarre thing is, I can't get it to run through SED. Now, interestingly, I fired up a Linux box, and that sort of worked.
Oh, okay.
Not on my Mac, so it's weird.
Maybe the version difference in SED there.
Yeah, possibly. I need to do a bit more investigating, because if we can just zap the files through SED, that'll be a lot more.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So cool.
Nice one. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. And well, let's have. I'm going to be off next week, but when I'm back the following week, we'll do another session and get that Rails thing spun up. I mean, don't let me stop you experimenting with that thing if you want to do so beforehand. But yeah, it'd be nice to look at it together in whatever state we've got to week after next.
Yep, we'll do. Yeah, there is one more thing actually. We talked about being able to do branches on local support directly rather than doing it on my own.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, if you could do that and then.
Oh yeah. Well, and yes. That should be as simple as adding you to this team if you're not already added to it, and you're not. But yeah, if we add here, it's Vardy B there. Yeah, I think you should now be able to do that.
Excellent. Thank you.
Welcome.
Cool.
Excellent.
Right.
Excellent.
Well, have a good evening.
I will do. Thanks so much, Brent. I'll see you around tomorrow.
Yep, should do. Thanks.
All right. Oh, wait, bye-bye. Oh no, it's well, at least the live streaming held out for.
Yeah, and to be fair, the quality of the screen sharing did improve. So it was just teething problems at the start, I think.
Good show. All right. Bye for now.
Yep. Cheers. Bye.